What's up, everybody? I don't know if there's any of you guys left. It looks like there isn't as of right now, but we'll see who does and who does not show up. But, guys, we're here for another SouthSide Boys episode. This season just keeps getting better and better as the White Sox have not won a game now in almost 3 weeks. They haven't won a game since the All-Star break has been over. They haven't won a game in their last road trip, and who knows when the hell they're going to win again. So, they are now 27-78. 51 games under 500, 11-game losing streak, and things ain't getting any better on the South Side anytime soon. So we're here to vent, to talk, and just let our anger out about this team that is the Chicago White Sox. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get Deech in here. Let's see how Deech is feeling. Deech, guys, is still going to some games this year. We got to give this man credit. So let's get Deech, and let's see how he's feeling. So, what's up, Deech? How you doing today? And I'm sorry that your poor soul has to go and witness this stuff live still. At least I'm like 200 miles away, and I have no ability to do that. But you, on the other hand, you love pain, bro. Huh?
Yeah, so I'll be at 3 of the games in the next 4 days. So we will see how that goes. Hopefully we don't have to wait for a win that long. I'd prefer they win at least one of the games I go to, but who knows?
Who are they even playing next? I don't even know who they're playing anymore.
This weekend it's Seattle, and then Monday when I'm going to Kansas City.
Well, we might have a shot with Seattle because Seattle did just lose Julio Rodriguez and everything. And Seattle's actually been a trade partner that they have been saying that possibly wants Luis Roberts. So we'll have to see. Maybe what they do is they just trade him this weekend, and then all he's got to do is go to the visitors' dugout. That would be creepy. If we have to watch Luis Robert in a Mariners uniform, you know damn well that guy's going to do the same thing Jake Berger did and hit a walk-off. Or not walk-off because it wouldn't be a walk-off, but, man, I'd cry. So, how do you feel about the last week? How was your All-Star break that we didn't have an episode last week? So how you feeling and everything else like that right now?
I mean, I watched the All-Star game and the Home Run Derby a little bit.
Do you like the way that they did that this year? I kind of did.
The Home Run Derby?
Yeah, where like the 8 guys instead of like brackets until the semifinals. I kind of like just having the 10 guys go at it and see who is the top 4.
Yeah, I mean, I somewhat agree as well. And then the All-Star game, I mean, the uniform sucked, but we all know that. So,
well, I put a thing out there, and I said that, like, I just don't know what it is like about these uniforms that they just don't care about. It's like, I think that was like one of my favorite things, and like we were talking about it when last time we were live with Justin, we were talking about All-Star memories and everything else like that. It's just like the way the All-Star game used to be, man. Like that used to be my favorite thing when the players would line up and then you'd see like different uniforms and everything else like that. And it just, I don't know. I really hope that MLB does do what they said, where I did see something that they could do where
they bring it back.
Yeah, they could bring it back next year. So I do hope that is a possibility because I cannot deal with that. But we did see Garrett Crochet go out there. He gave up 1 hit. He pitched 1 inning, and he went out there and did what Garrett Crochet does. So, I mean, he represented the White Sox in a very good way that we know Garrett Crochet to do. So, All-Star break was over, and I'll tell you this. It felt weird not to watch White Sox baseball, but it also felt refreshing because I was like, oh, my goodness. Like I was watching Raw on Wednesday. I was watching it Dynamite. And I'm like, oh, I should turn this on. And I'm like, wait, they're not playing today because they were off. And it just, I don't know, man. I love baseball. But at this point, and I know you're not a big football fan, but I just need football. I need something else to watch because this shit every day, especially like today was probably the first game that I think I've ever like been invested in where I'm like, at least every time I'm watching the games, I'm like, I need to be here and I need to like watch it. But like today, I was just like, I don't even care. I went to Walmart. I cleaned out my loft area. Like I just did a bunch of crap. So is that kind of how you're feeling, or do you kind of still have where you got that baseball itch? And like I said, I know you don't watch football like I do. So,
I mean, I've been watching the games up until the point that the starting pitcher is removed, and then, I mean, they're going to lose, so you just turn it off.
Isn't that so
I mean,
sad? Because again, today, Jonathan Cannon gave up 2 runs. And Frank Thomas, we'll talk about what Frank Thomas said on the post-game show after that we were listening to right before we started going recording. And it's like, do your job. Go out there. It's not that difficult to score 3 runs every game. And yes, the Texas Rangers only scored 2, but those are the games, especially with the pitching, with them being the 3rd in the majors since I think it was like June 7th. You're telling me that these guys, like, and I don't even know what's going to fix it, because like today, like Eloy hit the ball in the gap and he couldn't even get to second base. I've never seen, like we talked about it last year about seeing guys that just don't care. I have never seen 25 guys that maybe they do care. And we saw the interview with Tommy Pham earlier this week. He was on Foul Territory and everything. But I have just never seen guys just go out there. And what was it, 2 games ago? There was no 3-ball counts. How does that even happen? Like, how is that even a possibility?
Because we focused on defense in the offseason. That still sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really, I've honestly just I don't understand the strategy. I know people will sit there and argue this. I don't understand why we focused on defense to go from like the worst to the second worst defense to attract pitching, which now we have a plethora of, but we can't hit the ball to save our lives.
Yeah. And like, I just don't even know what exactly they're going to do that would make it any better. Like, okay, like that's my thing. Like we are what? We're 5 days away from the trade deadline, guys. 5 days away from the trade deadline. I will be here live for the trade deadline, and I'll explain how I'm doing that later on. But what does this team look like in a week? Like Baldwin has come up. That guy Nick that you took today, like Baldwin has had a couple decent like hits and whatever, but like we're gonna lose 140 games. like that, like 120 looks like it. Where like you made that post where 50 games under 50 whatever. It looks like they're going 50 and 112. And it's funny because I met a guy on opening day and he said they will be lucky to win 50 games. And I said, you're crazy. And here we are in July, almost 31st, and they only have 27 wins. And, you know, and that's like the thing where it's like, especially on like the north side, like the teams that are not playing as good, like just because you have 20 more wins doesn't mean you're a better team. That just means that you have more wins, but you're still in last place. But it's just like they're now in 11 games. How many games did they lose earlier this year? Was it 14 in a row?
It was either 13 or 14. I mean,
I can't remember. I remember when that was over, I was just like, never again. But we're here.
I just flush it, like Pedro says.
Matt, listen, what I want to say about Pedro is I'll probably get canceled for saying what I truly want to say about Pedro. But what I will say about Pedro is if this man comes on the pregame or postgame show and say that, you know, we just got to tough it out. We just got to do this. We're in fucking July, bro. This is no time to tough it out. This is the time that you need to learn how to play baseball and win games so you don't become historically bad and you're going to be known as the worst team ever in MLB like baseball. Like, I don't even know. It just like, and like that's the thing. Like people say to fire him, but is that really gonna help? I mean, is he the full issue? Because if he's the full issue, then they should have done that a while ago.
But so, then Chris gets
what? Deech left. We'll get Deech back in here. But what he was gonna say is Chris Getz. You know, Chris Getz, guys. We don't know what Chris Getz is exactly doing. Chris Getz came out here and said that we were going to have a better defense, this and that, yada, yada, yada. If you want to keep going what you're going to say, I was just talking pretty much what you were probably going to say. So.
Oh, I was just saying, I mean, what was I even saying?
Chris Getz, and then you cut out.
Oh, Chris Getz is just going to use Pedro as an excuse at the end of the year to why they have the worst record ever in MLB history. I mean, this is not – Chris Getz was quoted saying that they need to see improvement from the coaching staff over the next couple of months to prove, like, I don't know what to prove. I mean, what can they really
And that's the thing. Go ahead. Sorry, I'm bad at that.
Oh no, I mean, honestly, it just gets to the point where you're like, okay, so the coaching staff was given an awful baseball team. There's certain players I like on the team, but like overall looking at paper, uh, I think what's the most irritating about the team is like all these people who are like they're going to be fucking awful. It's not even that they're awful because there's so many games they lose by a run
Hey,
because they can't hit. And that was the biggest thing. They went and got 0 bats in the offseason and were like, let's pray that Yoel Moncada and Eloy, who have never been healthy, somehow play 120 games.
yeah. And I mean, there were, and you just mentioned Mancada. We literally just saw a thing where now him and Clevenger both had a setback. So there's no way he's coming back this year. There's no reason for him to. What's the point for him to come back in September to play with nobody? Like, I just don't even understand what the point is. And Eloy, like I said earlier, Eloy cannot run the bases if his life depended on it. Like, shit, I got so sick of it on MLB The Show. I traded his ass to fucking Oakland for fucking Brent Rooker, and he could go sit his ass in Vegas and run around those bases because I cannot deal with it. Like, it makes me sick. And Eloy was one of my favorite players when he first came up, when he did the high mom thing like the first few times. And it just like, I don't know. Like, I still remember where he first hit his first 2 home runs in Yankee Stadium in the rain. Like, that was just, and it's like, I just don't know. And it's like, Robert didn't have a good game today. Robert, they keep trying to bat Robert leadoff now for some reason. And I don't know why we're doing that when Tommy Pham was perfectly fine. And yes, we're probably going to trade him too. But who are you going to have lead off in August 1st? Andrew Benintendi again? Because there's no reason for Benintendi unless you're going to put Nicky Lopez. And I just and if I have to, I'm sorry, but if I have to see these guys smile anymore, I'm going to go in there and hit them with my own baseball bat with my metal one that I got when I was a kid. Why are we smiling? We're 51 games under 500. You should not be happy about what's going on here. And then we're just shrugging it off and so show some type of emotion. Like, I'm waiting for somebody just to go off, or like the Rockies told the Red Sox player Reese McGuire that he was in the parking lot. I can't say it, I'll get yelled at, but like, come on, I need something. Because again, this is what we have to watch. At least I have to watch until September or whenever the fuck football starts. But yeah. So, you got anything else to say about just everything going on?
I mean, the starting pitching is like third in baseball since the beginning of June. So, I mean, there is that. You can sit there and be like, well, they've developed a pretty good pitching lab. Yeah. I don't know where the bats are going to come from.
And that's Frank Thomas said it on the postgame show. I think it was 2 days ago because I didn't watch last night's. 2 days ago, he said, you have a rotation of Crochet, Thorpe, because Thorpe has just been phenomenal. Like, and that's the thing. Like, you talking about the starting pitching, like, that's when it's exciting to watch these guys. Or even like the play Cannon made today where he caught it on a line drive and got the double play. Like, plays like that are so exciting. Like, I was talking to Elijah and Justin. We were talking about it. Like, I love watching like 1-run games, or because it's exciting. It's the pitcher's duel. It's all this and that. And that's the biggest problem. Where like, even if you take the offense that we had, again, this is obviously hypothetical, whatever, but like, if you take the offense from just 2 years ago, we have probably at least 40 plus wins right now, based on the games that we've lost by 1 run or the bullpen blowing them. And that's where I just like when you go to Getz, like, what is he trying to do here? Because when we get to the trade deadline next week, and he said that we could see a trade today, I was kind of hoping we were going to see a trade before we went live here so that we had something else to talk about. But nobody was traded, and now he's talking about it as if it's going to be traded all weekends and then Monday and Tuesday. So that's the thing. Because who's the first one to get traded? Where do they go? And the biggest question is, what are we getting? We all know how much you love prospects, Deech. So are we getting major league ready guys? Are we all just getting all prospects? Like, that's just my thing. Because you could look at the prospects and you could say, ooh, yeah, this and that, and look at past trades, like the one with the Nationals and the Padres, ones with teams that, have went and just come out of nowhere and everything else like that. And it just, I don't know. So I'm just very.
Is why is anyone under the impression that we can trade for a bunch of prospect bats that we are going to internally develop into major league hitters when the last major league hitter that I think was like, I don't even know that you can count Frank Thomas. Like, I feel like we've just lucked out with certain guys like the Roberts, the Jose Abreu's, Frank Thomas. I mean, all of these guys turned into hitters, but I mean, Colson Montgomery apparently has been close to ready since when? Spring training?
Yeah.
And has stayed in AAA. And I'm not cutting Colson Montgomery down, but they keep making all these statements like all these players are like progressing and all this stuff. On the hitting side, I don't see it. I really don't.
Well, yeah, and I mean that's a very good point there too with that, because it's just like oh my god, what were you just saying? Oh my god, I lost my train of thought. What did you just say?
Oh, we can't develop bats, so I don't know
Oh,
why all fans are convinced we can trade for guys in like single and double A and turn them into actual MLB hitters. Yes, they have potential, but we seem to shit on everyone's potential and turn it into Yohan Moncada that we have now. I mean, that dude
oh
was
my
the
god,
prospect in baseball, was listed
number one.
tool player, stole 40 stolen bases during a minor league season. I don't think he ever did he reach 10 ever in a White Sox season.
Maybe 2019, maybe. But that's the thing, and like, sorry, I just lost my train of thought there. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like with the hitters, like like people made comments about Salvador Perez all off season. I don't know about you, as much as I like what Corey Lee's doing. I would have loved to have Salvador Perez on this fucking team right now, just to have some type of power and have some type of something or another. Where you see the Royals, and people could say that the Royals and they were 50 whatever and blah 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 last year, but at least they have Bobby Witt Jr. and Vinny Pascal, whatever the hell his name is, and they just have all these guys that you don't know who the hell they are, but they're just good baseball players. White Sox don't got that, especially if they go out and trade Luis Robert, where I'm seeing Phillies, I'm seeing Padres, I'm seeing this, I'm seeing that. And speaking of the Padres, an ex-White Sox player today, Mr. Dylan Cease Mustache himself, pitched a no-hitter for the San Diego Padres against the Washington Nationals. And ironically, the guy that caught his last out was the guy that broke it up for him when he was against on the White Sox, Mr. Luis Arraez, or Arraez, however the hell you say his name. So good for Dylan Cease, but it's just one of those things that it just like, how do we know these guys are going to be what they were, especially with what the history we have with Moncada's? Because I still remember exactly what I was doing when Moncada came to the White Sox, and I stopped what I was doing to look his profile up. And I remember the guy sitting next to me because I was in college for broadcasting, and he's like, dude, this guy in 5-6 years is going to be the best player in baseball. I'm like, I'm hoping so. Because when we traded Chris Sale, that hurt. And I mean, you see what Chris Sale's doing. Like, I was thinking about doing a video on what would the White Sox look like if they didn't trade most of these guys that are still playing. Like, obviously, we don't know what would happen. But just think about that team with Lopez, Cease, Semien, guys that, like, we just didn't, they whatever. And that's my thing, because every time a guy gets good, too, let's trade him for prospects. Like Garrett Crochet. Gary Crochet has said that he does not want to be a reliever, and 98% of these teams are going to do exactly that. So I bet you he doesn't get traded now, or has a very unlikely chance now, just because of that reason. Teams might not want to deal with it. So,
well, he said the only way he'll pitch in October is if they extend him, and I highly doubt teams. I mean, if the Sox won't extend him or had like brief conversations, why the fuck would another team that really doesn't know as much about Garrett Crochet say, yeah, we'll throw you $200 million and then you can pitch for us in the playoffs?
Yeah.
I mean, that coming out he could still get traded, but who knows? I don't know what the strategy is here. I don't think you're going to get as massive of a return for Luis Robert. So again, that turns into like, well, I mean, are you just trading him to trade him, or are you actually trying to make the team better? Because I'm starting to question what the actual plan is here. I mean, you can see we're developing pitching, but it's bad. I mean, that's the only thing you can give credit to this year is probably the addition of Brian Bannister has obviously transformed our pitching development, which is obviously a good sign, but The hitting side of it, I really don't understand.
Well, and yeah, and like I said in the draft too, they took the pitcher, and again, he might come out to be some great pitcher, but now the Royals got the guy that was from Florida. The Guardians had the #1 overall pick, and they both took hitters. And I'm sorry, but if a team is right after me, I am not taking that chance. And they could get the pitcher all they want. The Royals could have another great pitcher. I need hitting, and I would. That's like the one thing that kind of makes me mad because we're gonna look back at this, and if that guy for the Royals becomes good, it's just gonna be a whole nother thing to where the Sox could have, and they just jumped over the guy like the White Sox always do. Like the year they could have had Bobby Witt Jr., they could have had other players, and they took Andrew Vaughn. And who knows if Andrew Vaughn's even going to be on this team? Shit. Frank said it today. He said trade them all. I trade all their asses too. Because, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. But I'm going to ask you this. If they pass 14 losses, if they get swept by the Mariners and say they get swept by the Royals again, do we still have Pedro, or is he finally gone? Like, is there any which way that if they lose, like, more that he's gone? Or is it just let him ride it out the rest of this year? Because I keep seeing these Charlie Montoya things, and it's like, what is Charlie going to do? Because you've talked about it a lot with him, with the Blue Jays and everything else like that. I don't know. So
That he's been along for the whole fucking ride with Pedro. I don't get why people are like, this idiot's going to do any better than the fucking guy he's been standing next to the whole entire time. Like, it's not that complicated.
No, it's really not. It is not that complicated. It's really not.
One of the candidates who we could have hired, Alex Cora, he just signed a 3-year extension with the Red Sox. So, I mean, you're looking at Terry Francona or, what is it, Skip Schumacher, all these people.
That's exactly who they go and get because it's an ex-player. I always remember when Skip played too, he always beat up the White Sox. So you know how much Jerry loves that bullshit. So
well, the whole thing is Skip has ties to Tony La Russa, and then Francona has ties to Jerry. They're like friends, so
yeah, that's true.
Be one of those two. So
always about and again, the only person I would honestly take is Terry Francona. I don't know, and that just I'm speechless. Like even today, I'm watching the game. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm going to say today. Like I'm just rambling at this point because it's like there's really nothing to say to like that's going to make anything like, because I'm sure these guys are trying. I'm sure that they're as mad as we are because they're the ones that are going through it. They're the ones that got to wake up and go to the stadium and play and do this and that. But also at a certain point, I feel like it should be like we need to like have like a meeting or something, like do something, go out to dinner, everybody go out and let something needs to happen. So you at least don't become the worst team in Major League Baseball. And we're watching a fucking documentary in 5-10 years about this shit because they just started making documentaries about things I didn't think that they'd make. And dang well, they're making a documentary about the downfall of the Chicago White Sox. And we're all going to be sitting there as White Sox fans, depressed and watching it on ESPN. At least I will be.
Well, they're losing their ass this year. That Bleachers and Brews, that used to, I think it got up to like 28, 29 or $30 at one point, like to go to a game with the Bleacher and Brew deal. It's fucking $18. It's $18 now. Where
nobody wants to go. I was thinking when I come out for August, me and you go to a game, we could probably go for $25.
Yeah, I mean it's insane. It's literally insane. I don't get this whole like, oh, they're not going to spend any money next off. It's like they will continue to lose their ass for like multiple years. I mean, no one is going to sit there and like keep going. I mean, it's a terrible product.
And nobody's going to go out there and you're not going to appeal. What player in this offseason are you going to be like, if this isn't MLB The Show where you can just throw them all the money in the world, what player are you going to be like, hey, come to the South Side. We just lost 140 games, but come to the White Sox. A guy's going to look at you and be like, you're crazy if you think I'm going to the White Sox. And I see that 125 for 125 seasons. Man, if that happens, it's literally scripted. If we lose 125 games, this season has been scripted. Especially if the Phillies win. Because everybody wants the dang Phillies to win the World Series. So, who knows how many games they're going to lose. But in 5 days, we got a trade deadline, and who knows? Anything could happen. Shoot, a trade could happen in the next 5-10 minutes while we're still here. So let's talk a little bit about that trade deadline and everything else like that. So not even just the White Sox, and I know I've asked you this maybe a few times or anything else, but as it keeps getting closer and closer, anything can happen. Like Julio Rodriguez got hurt, and now who knows? The Mariners can need Luis Robert. From these next 5 days, do you see anybody? Again, we can't predict anything, but do you see a team making a splash that is like, oh my God, I did not see it happening?
I am honestly starting to think, as much as everyone is portraying it, that Tariq Skubal will not be traded. I think he might have a higher chance of being traded than Crochet after Crochet's news today.
Wait, what happened with with what I said earlier about the bullpen?
Yeah, okay. Heard him wanting to be a starter, and then I'll only pitch in October if you extend me prior. I don't know. You're taking a lot of risk there if you extend him plus give up a majority of your top farm system for.
Well, and that's the biggest thing, because we didn't really talk about that, because everybody keeps talking about wanting Luis Robert, wanting Garrett Crochet, wanting this guy, wanting that guy. But if these guys aren't performing, nobody is going to give. The Orioles are not going to, and I don't even think they would do it, but no, the Orioles are not going to give us Jackson Holiday and their number 2 prospect for Luis Robert when Luis Robert is swinging at balls that are 7 feet out of the zone. And we got Garrett Crochet, obviously not having a great start. He only pitched 4 innings, but he figured it out and everything else like that. And exactly what you just said. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's most likely a very good possibility with Skubal. And even like Tommy Pham, even Paul DeJong, even like shit, like I would even say, like I've said it before, I would even try to maybe trade like Gavin Sheets, but that's just me. So I don't even know where it's gonna go, but I have a feeling. And again, there's not a lot of teams that are sellers, so that's gonna be the one very interesting thing. Where Chris Getz has a lot of ammunition, but he needs to use it the right way, where he goes and gets what we need, and we don't have any hitting. So why not trade if you're gonna trade Fetty? Because obviously I think he'll be gone. Trade these guys for all hitters. I do not want to see one pitcher in any of these trades. Just stockpile hitters and see what you can do. Because now, I mean, we're thinking about a team that we were thinking about with certain guys. We're thinking about a team now that has Colston Montgomery, that has Edgar Quero, Brian Ramos. I don't even know. Maybe he'd be the third baseman, I feel like. Second baseman, who knows who the hell will ever be a second baseman. I don't think Andrew Vaughn will be on the team. And that's just my thing. It's like, who's going to be on this team? And I think that's just what makes me sick now, because it's just like these guys that will be here, we might not even have one guy on the team right now that's going to be here when they're good again, because, yeah. And I just want this trade deadline to pass to know what goes on, and I cannot wait until next week's episode to finally just sit here and then have Eli on in a few weeks to just sit here and talk about it and try to put this team together to wherever, you know what I mean? Again, we could sit here and nobody gets traded. I mean, that happens all the time where teams just don't get traded and they don't get what they want. And that's the other. I hope that Chris Getz gets what he wants. He's not just going to be settling for a trade just to do a trade like my dumbass has done in fantasy football the last 2 years and has costed me my season. So don't trade just to trade. It's not called the trade deadline to trade. You don't have to do it. But I feel like a lot of guys will be gone. But
I just think regardless of what he does or does not do, you are setting a pretty bad precedence for players to want to play for this team. Garrett Crochet has just been a monster and has gone out and continued to just pitch. I really don't know if some of Robert is just like, I don't kind of care because you seem to like have committed me to your future and now are trying to like dangle me to the highest bidder. I mean, the shit just does get old. And I mean, these are human beings. They have feelings too. That completely impacts their entire life. They pick up and move. I mean, to sit here year after year and keep doing this at the deadline is going to sit and start setting a precedent where players are not going to want to come here because halfway through the season, let's break up the gang again. Let's fucking send everyone out. I mean, it's getting old. So
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, and that you said it like these are just people. They are also our age. Like I'm over here. I was talking to you about it before. I'm sitting over here waiting to pre-order action figures that just being released. I cannot imagine what's going through Luis Roberts' mind as he's thinking that he doesn't know where he's going to live. He don't know where he's going to have to buy a house. He don't know if he's going to stay in Chicago, and he don't know what's going on. And I'm sure that's a lot of anxiety for somebody like that, especially somebody that's never went through it. And he probably thought he was going to be in Chicago forever, especially after signing the contract, everything that we were told, parades, woohoo, we celebrate, and Eloy Jimenez was going to break his leg running around first base. And, yeah. So it just, I cannot imagine going through that. Like my anxiety for the next 5 days, if I was Luis Robert or any of these guys, on any team, like all these guys are all so young now that I think people seem to forget about it. Like, yeah, it's good to be a great baseball player, but there's a whole nother side that we don't see, that they're just normal human beings being 27, 28 years old, just trying to live life and trying to do something for a job to support their families and everything else like that. So as much as I love the trade deadline, I cannot imagine what these guys are going through because I would just want, what time is it? 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock for the deadline? I forget. It'll be on all day on Tuesday. So yeah. But when do you think the first trade is?
probably tonight or tomorrow at some point.
Do you think that it's like the? Do you think it's a? If you're gonna guess, just so we can go back to it, if it happens, who's the first one to be traded?
From the Sox or just
from the Sox.
I honestly think it's going. If they have the intention of trading Eric Fedde, I think Eric Fedde will be traded because somebody's going to say, "I'm going to grab him because it's super unlikely I land a Crochet, Tariq Skubal, Jack Flaherty, and the mid-market teams have to be sitting there licking their chops because you have them again next year for $7.5 million. Like that's a very discounted quality. I mean, he leads our team in WAR. I'm fucking just like being honest.
I know. I mean, it still boggles my mind that he's got all those wins and we have 27 wins in July. Like it's just like what is that? What is it? April, May, June, July. That's 4 months. That's 7, 14, 21. That's fucking 7 wins a month we've been averaging. That's a week of winning baseball for the past 4 months. Like, I don't know about you, but when this team finally is good, I do not want to hear, if that's a big if, I do not want anybody to ever say anything about being a White Sox fan because I'm going to say if you were not here in 2024, you MFers, you're not allowed to root for this team because this is hell. Like, this takes like mental, like, I cannot imagine being Chuck and Ozzy having to talk about it. Like, we talk about it once a week. They got to do this shit every day. Like Chuck's probably pulling out his hair. Like I got the Chuck Jam or the Chuck and Ozzy Shy Jam shirt, and I'm as salty as Chuck, but it's overloading now. Stop. Oh man. So what team do you think Eric Fedde goes to? Do you think he goes back to, because he wasn't on Seattle at one point?
I think he was just the Nationals, and then they cut him, and he went and played in.
That's right. That's right. He played in Africa or something like that, or
Korea. I think Korea. It was like, but I don't know. I mean, you're looking at mid-market. I think a Milwaukee could bite on him. The Cardinals could bite on him.
Yeah, I think it will definitely be a National League team.
The only team I could see Baltimore getting a little desperate just because they do have a ton of pitchers that are hurt.
Oh, so many, bro. The poor Orioles, and that's like the thing. Like if could we take the Orioles hitting, and then we'd be fantastic.
I don't even know what they're doing. I saw something that they're willing to listen on offers on Ryan Mountcastle and Cedric Mullins, I believe.
Give me Cedric Mullins. Give me Cedric Mullins, and you could have Luis Robert, Fedde, and give me some other players.
See, but I don't think they're going to trade all these prospects like people are expecting. If they're trying to unload Cedric Mullins and a first baseman, you can play Kobe Mayo at first base, and then you can sit and throw one of the outfielders who's not. I mean, Kerstad, someone. I mean,
They
they're
have so many
spots because they don't want to give up their prospects,
no,
which
they're smart. Listen, that's the thing I learned last year. Like, I know I always go back to it, but I always like making comparisons. That's what I learned. If you have it, and like what they always say, don't break what's not broken. If you're winning, just keep winning. Just living your best life. Triple A's team killing it. You got guys coming up, guys retiring. You trade guys. Like, that's how it should be. Like, I don't know about you, but if I'm the Orioles, I'd keep every prospect just because, I mean, again, you don't know how long this team's going to last. And then you got a whole nother crop of guys coming up. And I mean, like, I want to ask you this because we've seen it a lot. How do you feel about these guys making AA jumps all the way to the major leagues? Do you think it's bad that they're skipping AAA? Because we've seen guys like Baldwin and other guys that come up from AAA. They have a few good things, and then they just seem to, like, not figure it out, or they adjust and then they can't adjust. So do you think they should go to AAA?
I think it depends on the player, honestly. I find it odd that is Colson and Montgomery going to be in AAA next year too to start? I mean, what the fuck?
I'd call them up this year. I'd call them up after the trade deadline. I'd see why not? Give you a reason. Give you a reason to go to the rest of your games for the regular season. Go see Colston Montgomery. You know what I mean? Like,
they don't give that though. I mean, I honestly question whether he will come up at all this season. Because each time they bring him up, whether it's with Pedro or Getz, they keep saying he's making progress and he's close. But it's like, well, if you're this close, how much, like, are we just like millimeter, like just very like little? I mean, what the hell is going on?
Because it's not like he has the thing like Chris Bryant, right? They're not like the contract thing, right? Where you get an extra year or something.
I don't think at this point. No, I mean that would have been if he started the season up or like killed.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't know. What is the plan with Edgar Caro? Is he just taking over as the starting catcher next year? They don't really. Everyone says that they see this like plan and all this stuff playing out, and it's like, well, why can't Getz tell us what the plan is then? Or at least give us some sort of idea what the fuck is going on.
Exactly. And it's so funny that we were talking about the Orioles because we have the biggest Oriole fan I know in the house. The Back It Up Binge podcast is in the house. So, Binge, let me know, bro. What would you do as an Orioles fan? Would you trade your prospects? Would you trade Mullins and Mountcastle? Let me know. How do you feel as an Orioles fan? So I just wanted to say go real quick. But go ahead. Keep going.
No, I mean, that's really about it. I think Feddy's probably the first one to go. There's a lot of teams that could use him. Mason Miller apparently punched a padded wall and hurt I think he fractured a finger. So
is he on the Athletics?
Yeah, he's the guy who everyone's like, the A's are going to trade him and cash in because he's been like the best reliever in baseball. So, I mean, that might be beneficial to like a Michael Kopech now because Michael Kopech jumps up the ladder of being closer to like, oh, he's the one we got to go out and get. So,
I mean, man, if I'm making a list of guys that I'm trading as much as I'd miss him. I'd trade Tommy Pham, probably Paul DeYoung, Michael Kopech if you can, Fetty, Crochet maybe, Robert maybe. I would listen on offers for Sheets. I would listen on offers for Gavin or on Vaughn. I would listen on offers on anybody that they possibly can because, I mean, look at the Dylan Cease trade. We traded Dylan Cease. We got Drew Thorpe. We got a couple other guys and everything else like that. But look at what Drew Thorpe is doing and look at what Dylan Cease is doing. That's a win-win trade for both teams. See, Dylan Cease has a chance to make a wild card, and Drew Thorpe has been doing really good. So that's the kind of deals that, like, I really hope that they make where it's like, I just want to see these guys like that. Like, this is what the White Sox love to do. They love to get guys. They hope that they break out, and then they love to trade them. So now do what you say you're going to do and trade these guys. But I see probably 6-7 guys being traded. So my last question will be, and if there's anything else you want to talk about, we can talk about it. But what do you see this team looking like? And who the hell is playing on this team next week when we come back here next Thursday to talk? And we'll have Justin with us next week to see what he's got to say. But who's on this team next week?
I mean, this could change a lot in the next like 5 days, but
It could change in the next hour. Shit, we get off and somebody's traded. We got to come back.
yeah. I honestly am just preparing myself for them to just completely clear house of anyone that they think has any value. I don't necessarily agree with that move, but I'd rather sit and mentally prepare myself than go under the assumption that they're not going to do it. So I don't know.
And that's just the way, like, I've been going into the games now. Like, I'm just like even I said it, I'm like, there's no way a team could get swept in a 4-game series because it's really hard to sweep a team in a 4-game series. But the White Sox found a way to make it look real easy. So I, like you said, I think Justin even said it too. He's like, just prepare yourself to lose every day, and then it doesn't hurt as much. And that's just kind of what you got to do with that, where it's like there's so many guys that are going to be gone that at least there should be, or whatever. That I think the only person that's left on this team, guaranteed, is Corey Lee that played today. Maybe obviously Baldwin and Nick or whatever the hell his name is, but I mean Gavin could be gone. Vaughn could be gone. I mean, again, if they're going to offer somebody, and again, Vaughn isn't having that great of a year, but he's also been hitting the ball. So I don't know. But again, like I don't know. The one thing I hope they don't do is trade hitters for pitchers, because I will scream on the top of my lungs. We do not need any more hitters or pitchers. We need hitters. So, like I said earlier, I trade every guy that they can for any type of hitter because you don't know what he's going to be. But, I mean, I don't know, man. Trade deadline's 5 days away, and we'll just have to see what happens. Is there anything else you want to talk about, though?
No, that's about it. I mean, going to embrace going to the games this weekend because it could be one of the last few times I get to see Robert and Crochet in the White Sox uniform. So it is what it is.
Hopefully we get to see Crochet one more time, because even if it's for 3 innings, watching him pitch is just so nice. And like I said, like you said, the starters have not been bad. That's been fun to watch. But once we see Justin Anderson's bum ass, Jared Schuster's dumb ass, Michael Kopech's Blowpack's bum ass, we see all these guys come out and we don't know what the hell they're going to give up. And it does not matter. Bro, they were 1 strike away from winning that game a couple days ago. They had them 3-2. 2 guys, they had 3-2. And they couldn't get the last strike, no matter how hard they tried. So, blow it up. I'm ready.
Watch the 8th or 9th inning of a game in probably 2 weeks.
He said, I ever watched an 8th. And it's sad because you probably know the results every time. And it's sad, bro, we have not won a game. I can't tell you the last time they won a game. So we're going to go look-see. And we're going to take a look back-see. Because I think, bro, they didn't even win when I was in Chicago.
No.
So let's go all the way back to the Pirates series. Did they beat the Pirates? They got swept by the Pirates too. That's right, I forgot. The last game they won was the doubleheader game when they beat the Twins 3-1. And that was on July 10th.
That was what pissed me off. I went to the game with when Garrett Crochet started, and I had the chalk talk with John Schriffen and patio party thing before. So by the time I got to my seats, fucking Crochet was already out of the game. I was like, this is so stupid. I didn't even get to watch. Like, come on.
Gotta love it, man. There's only a few reasons to watch this team. And, I'm sorry, John Shifter, I understand you're doing your best and it's hard. But I've never seen a worse home run call than the one that they did yesterday. Him and Gordon Beckham, bro. I don't know what it is. I love Gordon Beckham. But can we get this guy out of the booth? I don't care what happens. I'll go and do it. I'll fly to wherever the hell you want me to fly, and I'll do the goddamn job. Because I can talk like this and have more energy throughout the game than this guy going, oh, Luis Robert over the fence. Oh, look. Oh, sorry, guys. We weren't paying attention. Well, maybe pay attention. I don't know. I'm going to start muting this shit, man, and not have to listen to it. I just miss Hawk. So I'm done ranting, though, for today. So let's get to the chat. Let's see what everybody's saying, and then we'll say goodbye for today and come back next week. So we got Sang in the house. What's up, Sang? How you doing? Thanks for coming and hanging out. We got Jadis in the house. What's up, Jadis? We got Daniel. What's up, Daniel? We got our guy Seth. We got another Orioles fan in the house. Orioles are on top, but how do you feel, Seth, about the Orioles? And do you think that they should do what they did? So back up answered my question. Oh, that's the next one, but we'll see what these guys say. You always got to be careful with the confidence of the young players. AA to majors is a huge jump. It is. And I think that's the biggest thing. And it's very interesting to see. To me, other than Adley, could we add Adley? I'd take Adley and Gunner for Michael Kopech and Tommy Pham. I think that's a fair trade. What do you think, Beach? We got Mayo and we got Holiday on the block. Oh, they got all four of those on the. Oh no, they
That's what
other than those four. I was like, wait a second. I'm like, I don't think so. But yeah, then that's the thing that the Orioles do. They develop. And that's what the White Sox have not done with these hitters. They have not developed anybody. Because if you would have told me 2 years ago that a guy named Hunter Henderson was going to be a guy, I would have told you were crazy. But here he is. And that's just why you never know. And like you said, somebody punched their wall and they broke whatever the hell. Who knows? Somebody could trip over a bag tonight and they break their leg and they're out for the year. So a lot could happen in 5 days. So we'll have to see what happens on Tuesday. Deech is going to be on standby, guys, on Tuesday. So if any Chicago White Sox player like Robert or Crochet gets traded, Deech will jump on the stream with me for a couple minutes just to talk about it. So, Deech, I know you're a busy man, but just in between those times, try to keep it if you are able to, just so then we can talk about it. But if not, if you are whatever, we'll talk about it on Thursday. But I will be here next Tuesday, an hour before the trade deadline officially goes through. We'll stay here. We'll talk about all the trades, all that good stuff. So a special Southside Boys episode on Tuesday as it's the trade deadline, and we're going to sit here and we're going to see what goes down. So I'll be live when any big trades goes down on Tuesday. So, Deep, you got any, huh?
Get your shot glass and jug of bleach. We'll rip shots of bleach when they trade Robert and Crochet.
I mean, I can't show you. I can't show you, but I got a couple of, what's ready. So I'll make sure to get out of a big. I should just go buy a bottle of Tito's and just have it next to me, and then every time the White Sox do something, just chug it on the side.
Yeah.
Oh,
you have to take a shot per prospect we acquire at the deadline.
Bro,
So when we have like 15 prospects and you've downed at least half a handle, we'll know it's been a great.
Oh my God, man! I would need to call you. I would need to call you for reinsurance. I'm going to be on the live stream, being like, imagine me drunk on the live stream. That'd be so funny. Listen. Or you listen, back it up. You don't gotta tell us the bad things. The 1 and 2, same draft. Man, it makes me sad. It really does. I really wish.
We took Carlos Rodon high in the draft and traded him. We took Nick Madrigal high.
Oh my God, man! I remember watching Madrigal in college and being like, "This is the guy the White Sox." I was so excited. But don't ever forget about our best player ever, Mr. Carson Fulmer. Oh, that fudging guy, man. He gave me so much anxiety. I feel like I have just been through so much pain with this White Sox team that I just am so hurt that it just doesn't even bother me anymore. I just feel like I'm getting stabbed every day and I'm just standing there just taking it. I'm just like, doing my job every day, but just getting stabbed while somebody walks around with me. So that's what it's like to be White Sox fans, guys. At 27 and 78, road to 125 it is. So, guys, that's all we got here for you today, though. I hope you guys enjoyed our ranting for the last 45 minutes. I think we talked about a lot. So, obviously, everything could happen and everything could change in the full week. But as I said, anything happens, we'll be here. I'll be here to recover it for you guys. I'll be here Tuesday for the draft or for the deadline. And then we'll be back here with Deech and Justin on Thursday for the Southside Boys. And like I said, if Deech is available, we'll get him in for a couple minutes on Tuesday. But we'll see what happens. So, guys, thank you all so much. Remember to go and hit that like button, hit all the social medias, become a member, get your memberships, get your merchandise. I always say, the White Sox suck, and you don't got to like the White Sox. But just go support the Southside Boys, guys. Go get your merchandise. Go get some t-shirts. Go get all that good stuff. Winter is coming, so go get your sweatshirts if you want a hoodie to keep yourself warm. So go do all that on bonfire.com. But appreciate y'all, guys. Enjoy your Thursday. Go and hit that like button on this episode. Subscribe on the road to 3K. And lastly, go and turn that notification button on so you know when we go live next, which will be tomorrow for Friday Night SmackDown. Guys, have a good rest of your Thursday night, and I'll see you back here tomorrow on Tino's Time.